Hi everybody. My name is Jerry Wise. I'm a life and relationship coach and the director and founder of Jerry Wise Relationship Systems. This video is entitled Moving from Feelings to Thinking. It's one of the three important self-differentiation shifts that we can learn to make. And I'll be talking about these now, today, and in the future. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you get all the new videos that come. And also, if you would be willing to join for $1.99 a month, that helps support free videos on YouTube. I also have a workshop coming up on February the 6th on Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. You can join on my channel. There's a link down below where you can use that to join the workshop, to work with me for 4 hours. And we'll have, there's a limited number of people that will be attending so that we can have question and answers, and maybe I can work with some people during the session. And it's on getting your family of origin out of you. There are three shifts we make in our self-focus and self-awareness and self-processing. Often people will ask me, well, Jerry, how do I self-differentiate? What do I do to self-differentiate? Well, they'll many times say, well, what's your three good tips for doing that? And these are the three good tips. It's just they involve a paradigm and a thinking change to do them. So it's not just simply a quick fix of just do A, just do B, and then you're self-differentiated. And people ask me all the time, and I try to help educate them about self-differentiation. Peter Titelman, in his book, The Therapist's Own Family, which every therapist or coach should read, to deal with their own issues in their own family of origin before they start working with other people. Because when people are in session, I have a client and they're helping them as a coach. My family's here and their family's here. It's all here inside of us. And so the more I'm aware of my family, I can help them be more aware of their family and their issues, and my issues get in the way less in working with you. And I supervise and train some therapists and help them to learn to be better therapists by being aware of their own issues. That will help them be clearer and more helpful to their clients. Peter Titelman wrote this great book, and in it he talks about the three shifts that we want to make to really become self-differentiated. Moving from feeling to thinking. Secondly, moving from cause and effect to process thinking. And thirdly, moving from self-focus to a systems focus. I think that provides us with the ability to be more in control of ourselves and more in control of how we interact with other people. And I'm going to be talking about the first one today, which is moving from feeling to thinking. And this is a beginning video. So what do I think about feelings? Do I think we should only think and not feel? No. I've been working with people in recovery, from codependency to ACOAs, to ACONs, adult children of narcissists, and lots of folks who have struggles with self-differentiation. In fact, most of us do. That's the process of growing up, is self-differentiation. So what do I believe about feelings? Are they important? They should not be ignored. They're very important. Am I suggesting people should stop feeling? Certainly not. Our feelings are very important for our recovery. There are many, just like myself, who had frozen feelings. I remember the first time a therapist asked me what was I feeling, and I went, I don't know. Why do you ask? I didn't know you could even just access your feelings at that moment. And my feelings were pretty numb and frozen. as a recovering or as a codependent, I just wasn't aware of my inner self. I was only aware of everybody else and everyone else's inner self, but certainly not my own. For those who have grown up in families in which feelings were ignored or punished, then our feelings get shoved way down. Now, that doesn't mean they don't play an important part in our life and later. Just because you're numb and just because you have frozen feelings doesn't mean you don't act on those feelings. We all need to learn to identify and express our feelings. However, I think not all feelings are equal and not all feelings are the same. When I say moving from feeling to thinking, or as I understand Peter Titelman talking about that, what he's talking about is moving away from systems feeling to thinking, moving away from reactive feelings to thinking, moving away from the anxiety in the emotional system that's going on to thinking. We want to override reactive thoughts, feelings, and behavior. We want to override that because it feels so natural, it feels so common. Actually, of the skills we want to learn is how to identify our feelings and what to do with them, while remembering there's two types, true feelings and systems feelings. You might want to watch my video on true feelings versus systems feelings on my YouTube channel. Recently, I had a friend who had betrayed me, and he had been trusted for 15 years, and he had betrayed me, and I won't go into all the details of that, but it involved addiction, and he had been sobered, straight, clean for I don't know how long, and then he relapsed, I think with his brother, and it was very painful. And when he betrayed me with a credit card or stealing something, then I felt sad, hurt, betrayed. Hey, I felt these were true feelings. I felt very sad. I felt betrayed. I felt hurt. I had trusted him significantly. I also felt shame, stupid, naive, which I believe were systems feelings, or dumb, and these came from my past and not the present, because I hadn't done anything shameful or stupid or naive in this relationship with my friend. He had betrayed me. I didn't tell him to. I think his addiction betrayed him. And so those are true feelings that we can have. But shame, stupid, naive, dumb, all those feelings, those are often systems feelings. And many times we can react out of those feelings, which is where Peter Titelman's saying, shift from feelings to thinking. If your favorite parent passes away, of which both of my parents have passed away, you may feel the true feelings of grief and loss. When we feel abandonment or shame over the loss of a parent, then we're oftentimes experiencing systems feelings or feelings from our past. Because we will all pass away one day, and if we feel abandoned, we probably have abandonment issues, and that can create all kinds of feeling, thinking, and behavior that can be reactive. Whereas grief and loss is the appropriate adult response to the death of a loved one. In relationships, we often feel about what's going on in the relationship versus think about what's going on. This is our feel-think system based on our old reactivity and the older part of our brain. So that feel about is when we get triggered in the limbic system. It triggers our thinking, behavior, and feelings. And now we're often running with systems feelings, systems behavior, all kinds of things, and reactivity. And often we feel this, and it happens so fast we're not even aware that it's happening back here and moving forward. much like a fight or flight experience. If you have a fight or flight experience, there's not much time. You're just in a reactive mode. Well, certainly that's a survival skill and a process that we need as humans living in this universe. We need that. That's a healthy part of us. The problem is that system becomes fight or flight when it shouldn't be fight or flight. And so we're triggered by that older, deeper brain or older issues, and then we find ourselves doing our relationships out of that system. What I believe is important is to slow down or challenge this. Like Dr. Ross Rosenberg, he shares the observe, don't absorb technique found in his book, Surviving Narcissistic Abuse, The Human Magnet Syndrome. And this is equivalent to me saying, think about versus feel about what's going on. And when you're observing, you're thinking about it. When you're absorbing, then you're just acting out of the system emotionality that's flowing back and forth between the two of you, or the 10 of you, or the 5 of you, or whatever the relationship system, or the department, or the church, or because all organizations, all groups have an emotional field as to how they interact with each other. In fact, everything is a family. When I was pastoring a church will act like a family. You'll have scapegoats, golden children. You'll have sibling rivalry. You'll have people projecting parental things on me as the pastor. And I can project things on them as brothers and sisters or siblings. And all of that is a systems way of how we function, but it may not be a healthy way. And oftentimes it harkens back to when we were growing up in our families. So let me give you an example, a feel about example. I'm going to just use two names, Joe and Mary. Joe comes home from work, from his office, and Mary complains to Joe, hey, Joe, I think you're paying too much attention to the female office manager that you have, and it concerns me. Joe had an affair 15 years ago, and Mary knows about it and knew about it, and so she makes this statement to him. And she's not real reactive about it, though I imagine she's probably a little triggered, but she makes that statement to Joe, and Joe becomes very reactive and tells Mary, why don't you just get over it? I'm not doing anything wrong. Stop criticizing me when I've done nothing wrong. Nobody else thinks I'm doing anything wrong. I think Joe is absorbing, not observing. And Joe is feeling about the situation that has just happened. And again, as Ross Rosenberg might say, is he's absorbing. And how do I know he's absorbing? Because there's telltale signs. He is not calm. He is blaming. He is defending himself. And he's triangulating with others. He's not calm. He blames Mary. He's defending himself. I'm not doing anything wrong. And he's triangulating. And nobody else thinks I'm doing anything wrong. So Mary, him, and all these other people. So that's a triangle. And when we do those things, we are often feeling about a situation, not thinking about it. He believes he's thinking about the situation and making rational responses to Mary. But in reality, he's feeling about the situation, which are driving his thoughts. His feelings are in the driver's seat, and his thoughts are in the passenger seat or the back seat. But he's thinking, and he's not. He's just feeling. Thinking is really what I say. So how could Joe move from feeling about this situation to thinking about or observing the situation with Mary? First of all, we have to start by being calm. If you start to get reactive, if you start to get exorcised, if you start to get intense, if you start to feel anxious, we're already on the wrong road. Calmness, as I say in the great video that I really like, calmness is everything, which is one of my videos. It's a long video, but I talk about how important calmness is. Calmness is everything. He could then choose to resist blaming. He could choose to resist defending himself. And he could choose to resist triangulating with others. Mary, don't you see all these other people think I'm just fine? I don't need the authority of others to do that. So we want to reflect on, since I'm doing these things or want to do these things, because if you feel like you want to do those things, that's when we need to stop and choose to be calm. I need to think more versus feel more, or focus on thinking more than focusing on my feelings. And when someone challenges me, I want to immediately shift to thinking rather than feeling. There's a time and a place to focus on feelings, and I want to reinforce that. And in fact, I think there were some other feelings that might be true feelings that Joe's having, but he's not aware of those. He's just aware of his system's feelings and is acting on them. He might feel some shame. He might feel some guilt. He might feel some exhaustion or frustration. Those all can be reasonably true feelings that Joe may have, but he doesn't tell Mary that. He just feels this reactive pull and then just starts, reactively talking back to her. Self-awareness and feelings awareness, this work is important. But being overly enmeshed with our emotional system causes reactivity. And again, I think it's very important that we become aware of our feelings. But would you say Joe is being aware of his feelings? I think Joe is being aware of his trigger. Joe is being triggered and is reactive, and I'm not sure how much he is aware of what's going on within him. And that's what happens when we become reactive, are not calm, and when we're absorbing rather than thinking. Then we think we're doing the right thing, but we're actually doing all the wrong things to try to correct this situation. We want to look at the flow of anxiety. When I start to feel triggered, Mary may have been triggered by him taking a gift to his office manager, or purchasing a gift for her, out of appreciation for the work she's done, let's say. And Mary could start to feel more anxious about that because of the previous affair. And so Mary comes to Joe. She has a little hot potato, offers that to Joe. Joe now has the hot potato. It gets really hot now. It gets thrown back to Mary. Mary has the hot potato of anxiety. Then she responds back. And then we have this chain of and feedback loop of anxiety that's going back and forth. No one's being aware of their true feelings, and there's not as much thinking going on about what's happening. And that's what I call kind of the hot potato process. We want to drop the hot potato. If someone hands you a hot potato by accusing you of something, challenging you, disagreeing with you, I want to put the potato down and not let it guide everything that's going on within me. Because if I grab hold of the hot potato, if I have fight or flight, if I have just reactivity, it's not going to go well. And it will often either keep something bad in place or will make things worse. I hope today has been a help to you. I want to thank you for joining me today. Please join the workshop on February 6th. Join this channel. Have a great day and be wise.